started the Tiny, actually, in preparation for TI. They found the abuse, and I think they are the best team at enabling it. So this is a big, it's a big save from Puppy. It's like, I can counter this. They're going to have to prove that. LGD saw it coming by banning the Invoker. It's a hero that's considered very good against Tiny. Of course, one of the best heroes in the game at kiting the Tiny with his spells. The early Vessel can also allow you to push timings against the Tiny early and try to, outpace him. And what LGD did with the AA ban is they're threatening the IO second after the Tiny, which is a deadly combo. So now Secret, they have to set up for the Tiny, but they also need to set up for the Tiny into IO potentially. LGD has also the freedom to not go for the IO if they feel like it was addressed properly. And that's one of the things with the Tiny first pick that makes it really strong this tournament. Also, why the Wyvern will be here is a pre-counter to IO and to Lycan. We have seen teams do the Tiny into the Lycan, and this is also why the Smag and Wyvern is such a good opener versus Tiny, as we well learned yesterday ourselves, because it covers a lot of angles. It's good heroes versus Tiny, the skewer, force him out of position, you get enough time to actually burst through him, the Wyvern, the HP burn, the Wyvern curse, of course, if anybody's close to Tiny, he's just dead. And you cover the IO plus the Lycan angle on it. Very strong opener. So let's see what LGD has to offer to this, because teams so far have been abused by this opener, especially OG, unfortunately.
Were you surprised that Secret burned a little bit of their reserve time in the first phase? Because I would think when I used to prepare for drafts, especially as like the most meta hero of the tournament, I would know my opener right away.
I mean, they must have been talking about what is LGD going to pick that's not IO and not Lycan, and is Wyvern Mag good enough against it? And here you see how LGD, they don't go for the IO, they don't go for the Lycan, and it's smart, because these heroes are already countered. They go for another Tiny abuse. You want to enhance this Tiny. You want to make him stronger than he already is. We have seen that with the Venge Aura, we have seen that with the Lycan Bite, we have seen that the IO Overcharge. The Bloodlust is one of these spells. And now probably their approach is, hey, Ogre is going to be very strong on the lane versus Mag and Wyverns that are not very strong. And it's going to push our Tiny to even stronger timings. So very strong opener from LGD. I would say that so far both teams are kind of looking at each other. It's going to be a Tiny strat, well-rounded. From LGD, you always expect very well-rounded strats. And now we're going to see how the second phase is going to develop and if one team is going to get the edge on the other.
I also like the idea of the Ogre Magi, as in, Team Secret, they're already ready to buff up the carry. They have a lot of backup for him in teamfights, but you also have that in power. I feel like in this patch, you don't want your carry to get outscaled by additional, extra heroes helping him.
Exactly.
They match that from LGD,
So I think LGD Ogre versus Mag, right?
Yeah. They never feel like they're going to get outscaled or out-tempoed or out-timing. It's always, they're ready for it. And I think a lot of that's because of how they view the draft. If the enemy picks some teamfight, they will match that. If they pick some buffs or laning, they will also match that. And they'll try to equal the edge through, also in the draft, but mostly through individual play and team play.
And Secret, they don't like being on the back foot. They don't like having to, they like scaling into the game too. They don't enjoy being in a position where, they're getting outscaled and they have to make the moves. We talked about the wall, and they know very well how to play defensively, how to hit their own timings. So definitely both teams are in the comfort zone. Now you see with the second phase, LGD is removing heroes that are considered heroes that can take away the scaling of Tiny. Ursa cuts through him no matter the stage of the game. Ursa with Mag, even better. Same for Necrophos. It was actually their own answer yesterday, LGD, that they did against, it was VP, I think, that when Tiny LGD went for the Necro. Very strong on the lane, can follow him around. You can put Necro 3 versus Tiny 1. You can put as a one-on-one mid. And you get the Necro Aura plus the Necro ulti versus Tiny throughout the game. Always great. And teams so far haven't not flexed the Tiny to support position, which is a trick that hasn't been used yet, but maybe because teams don't believe in it, or maybe because the Tiny one hasn't been broken well enough that teams feel like, hey, we have to adapt.
I feel like it's a weird dynamic with the heroes that are considered the strongest, is that at the end of the day, they're the strongest because they have so much impact and power. You really want them on the core position. But you're saying there might be value. Do you think in this game in particular, there's value in putting a support?
No, and it's also much harder from first pick, because on first pick, if you pay close attention to what happens in the second phases, you're going to get counter-picked on the 18 pick and the 24 pick, meaning the last pick of second phase is to second pick, and the ultimate last pick is also to second pick. So it's very hard to keep flexing heroes, because you're going to have to show your cards before second pick reacts, right? Which is also why this Tiny on first pick is strong, because you're building such a strong strategy that it cannot really get counterpicked. You're basically putting something on the table. It's like, hey, we're going to play the strategy and we're going to cover the angles early, which is what they're doing now with the Ursa Necro Nyx. Is like, in their heads, they're taking away what they think will beat Tiny 1, And then they're like, beat it, basically, right? And it's going to be up to Secret whether or not they can do that.
They have to beat it with what LGD think is the fourth best strat against Tiny, because they're banning out the best three.
Right.
I was actually thinking, because usually a lot of what I see in this tournament is you'll pick the most imba hero on their first pick, from first pick, and then your next pick will be the best core that you think is against their two heroes. But because LGD, they're already sort of committed to the Tiny game, they want to focus all their bans on Tiny, they're just picking an Ogre so that they can focus their bans to protect Tiny.
So here, in my opinion, the Snapfire, why it's interesting is it's a very solid hero, doesn't reveal too much, and keep in mind that second pick, they want to play their cards with the next two picks. Here, they want to build something solid, and they're going to reveal that later. The Ogre 5, in my position, in my opinion, would have created a problem for Secret to address, whereas like Wyvern 4 versus Ogre 5, you're going to have a big laning problem. This Wyvern is going to get zoned out of the lane, the Mag is going to get very bullied. Now they build this lane that is a very strong, solid one, Mag Snap, lanes into anything, lanes into Ogre 5, lanes into anything. Now LGD should expect this Wyvern to be a 5 and not a 4. So now we're just, Secret is still not revealing. They're trying to stabilize their lanes, making sure they don't get the game off with a really big disadvantage 5 minutes in. And this is the really tricky part for LGD. Now they have to start exposing themselves, drafting-wise, with the next two picks.
And they're forced to commit into something. Whereas Secret, you might have Wyvern 5, which is maybe seen as a little bit of a weaker laner, but you do have that core counter pick. Did you feel like second pick sort of had an advantage in the draft this tournament?
I think it really depends how well teams use. Some teams have done a really good job at using first pick too. For instance, if you consider that the way they cover the tiny angles is just too strong, then you're not at a disadvantage at all. And here they actually go for the Lycan. It's very interesting because Lycan is considered very cornered by Magnus and Winter Wyvern. But obviously, it isn't about the Lycan summons as much as it is about biting the Tiny. And then the Wyvern ulti doesn't stop that. The Mag RP is not going to stop that. At some point in the game, Tiny has status resistance on level 20. RP doesn't do anything. So here shows how confident LGD is into the Tiny Lycan. And to me, the reason also why they allow themselves to go for the Lycan is because they know now that the Wyvern should be a 5, meaning there's going to be very little pressure from Secret safe lane, and they're gonna get away with laning the Lycan. Lycan's gonna hit the good timings, and they're gonna bring the Lycan Tiny. You're looking at mid 20 with Lycan Tiny. You need the shard on Tiny, and you need Lycan with the Overlord and the Dom and the Axe.
This is a Phoenix into Snapfire. I know, like for a lot of people, it's a pretty big counter. You have the little Shredder versus Egg, but I think LGD, they've identified that it's not so simple for Snapfire to just hit that egg. There's a lot of things just running at them. You have an Ogre in front, some Lycan will scouting you, and two Giant Hounds just running at you. I'm also curious about one thing about whether Secret decide to put this Magnus as carry, just because they've seen the Lycan.
Interesting.
This is when I've seen Magnus as carry. I'm not too sure if it'll scale well enough for Tiny, maybe a little lack of damage, but I would be curious if they want to go for that.
If they do it, then they have to play on earlier timings because it's definitely not going to scale into the Tiny Lycan. They will lose, and I think from experience, Secret don't like to play on the, as I said, they want to be the ones kind of driving the car and having kind of LGD mess with them. But both teams like that. This is when, one team is going to end up having to play maybe out of their comfort zone. And that's why drafting is so important. But now when I see the Weaver, to me, this really looks like, I talked about how the Wyvern 5 is very weak on lane. Weaver is very strong. Right. Weaver 1 is super strong. Weaver 1 can, do really well against the Lycan lane by herself. And now Wyvern actually isn't griefing the lane anymore. He's even helping.
You actually a good kill threat in that lane, right?
Completely.
Weaver plus Wyvern.
So they're taking another approach. Weaver also kind of interesting versus the, this tiny, hasted, bitten. Like Weaver also, Sukuchi is around. She doesn't suffer as much. I don't know how well it's going to scale into it. It's going to be a Weaver with Empower, buying Skyly versus Tiny, all of that. The scaling to me is still on LGD's part. But Secret, they have some very good things going for them. They have this immense team fight, a lot of lockdown. But this is when the Phoenix also, of course it's not good versus Snap, but it's one of the best heroes in the game against both Magnus and Wyvern. The way Phoenix fights, start the fight, plays the egg. Magnus and Wyvern, they have no counterplay to that.
I'm honestly a bit surprised that they went for a Weaver. Like, in terms of stylistic choice, I think you're completely right that Secret sort of want to be able to wait for their timing, form that wall. I think this game, maybe they've identified something, how they think they can break LGD. I think when LGD lost to Tundra in whatever tournament it was, sorry, I forgot. Part of what Tundra did was they would actually abuse LGD's offlane. I think Faithgon and Jinkyo, they're really good at laning, but they always sort of play to get what they want instead of pressuring their opponent. If you go overboard, like, Fado would play these gyrocopter, something insanely aggressive,
Right.
you can actually shut down their offlane and sort of snowball off that. Like I think that's what contributed to Tundra beating them. Maybe Secret seen that and they're going for sort of a similar thing here.
It's possible, very possible. And you see how, again, the last pick from LGD, it's a tricky one. They have to try to cover some angles and pick blindly again. And this is the power of second pick, whereas, you know, there's a lot of counter picking happening with the Weaver and the last pick too. And you can't really stop that. What LGD brought to the table, which in my opinion is the proper way to drive on first pick, is hey, it's a tiny Lycan strat. It is hella strong. We got to ban the Ursa, we got to ban the Necro. Whatever we think would get in the way of this, counter it. This is when I think there's actually much more balance between first pick and second pick if you use them properly. But if you're trying to play draft how Secret is drafting from first pick, you're gonna end up in a big trouble. Now the puck gets countered by the DK, classic counter. DK Breathfire, damage reduction versus Tiny, very effective. Damage reduction versus Lycan, very effective. Now it's gonna come down to certain things. I think Secret have a play of going to Tiny's lane with the Weaver in the snap and pressuring him and playing the Magnus versus Lycan one-on-one. They might actually win 3 lanes and they can snowball. Secret know how to push their timings when they win lanes. I think that's one of the angles that LGD might not be ready for. But I would say that both teams are really happy in my opinion, and I feel like LGD scales better, so we'll see.
So the idea here for LGD would be to prevent that early timing, try to win that mid game with their team fight and outscale the enemy team, whereas Secret is just trying to snowball.
Yeah, I think Secret's draft, they have to take some towers and take away farm for opponents, steal their camps.
Right.
Honestly, it's a bit different than the Secret I usually see, but I think they're more than capable of it, and I think they've shown that in the past too. I'm very excited to see this game because I feel like it's two sort of opposing views coming into this game. It's just like some puppy versus Shaoi, and you'll see how their ideas clash.
Geniuses of the game going, full force at it is something of beauty to witness, beauty to be able to watch it. And yeah, LGD think a lot about the minute 20 timing. They want to build up to that and see how hard they can hit Secret with it.
Right. And finally, if I were to ask you, I don't like asking this question usually, but usually I ask, what draft do you favor or something? This is just two completely different ideas. There is no favoring any draft, right? Or would you say that one idea counters the other?
In my opinion, LGD's Tiny is very, very strong. They made the Lycan meta. They made the Tiny meta.
Right.
This is their bread and butter. They are extremely good at executing it. I think Secret is going for they went half-half in my opinion. I think they have the laning that can go really well for them and they're good enough to win the game, right? But they start with Magnus Wyvern trying to scale and then they end up going Weaver DK. Now they're taking a different approach, you know what I mean? I don't think they fully committed to one or the other. We have no Puppy Ench with TA taking Roche minute 7. Now we're like, they try to play LGD's game and then they revert to something maybe a little bit faster. I don't know if it's gonna pay off for them, but Puppy has proven, being one of the greatest minds of Dota.
Well, we're going to have to see what the coaches think themselves as we have Frankie on the sidelines with Heen, Secret's coach.
Thanks, guys. Heen, plenty of counter picks in your draft there. Did it go how you expected it to go?
Sort of, yeah. I think the first half of the draft is usually easy to predict and prepare, and the later half is situational, so we weren't really surprised in this draft.
Well, Heen, the game is getting underway. Thank you so much for talking to us. We're going to head over to Synderen and Suns fan to get it underway.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Best of 3 upper bracket finals. Synderen, Secret versus PSG LGD. The Juggernauts finally clash. PSG LGD, basically the favorites of the entire tournament, and they didn't really slow down much in the group stage, but did lose one game, and it was to Team Secret.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny to look back on how the group stage went and realize that I think in the second game of that series, PSG kind of rolled them, but like you said, it was the one game that they lost. I believe in that game, PSG LGD were rocking some Alchemist Death Prophet strategy. Might have been their only Alchemist pick of the tournament. Secret just found a solution. They beat them with, ironically, Ogre Tiny in that game. So this time around will be played by the PSG LGD side, so maybe took a little bit away from that series and want to bring it into this match today against Team Secret. But yeah, after we've seen a lot of the main event played, I think it makes so much sense that these teams are going to face off in this upper bracket final.
Yep, it's only fitting for sure, as Ame is going to be playing that Tiny. And I do want to talk about Tiny for a bit, but first, Magnus. These two heroes, in fact, are the two heroes of the tournament right now. They're continuing to get through. I do have to say, every TI, there's a couple of heroes that just get past the ban stage for whatever reason, even though they're extremely powerful. But I think the difference for me, I might be biased because I love strength heroes, these are really exciting heroes to watch, especially the Magnus. So happy to see that this time around.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of, how to say, they just make plays, right? That's what makes them so exciting to watch, is that they make moments. Tiny with the insane cleave damage and the single target burst potential. And Magnus with, we've seen Horn Toss make many a play already.
Yep.
And of course the team fight potential here. So yeah, should be good to watch. In the off lane, we are actually going to see the lane that Seb was talking about would be problematic here for Secret. So we'll see how it goes. He predicted that Y on the Ogre would be able to just shut the Winter Wyvern of YapzOr out of the lane, and as a result that Secret might put the Wyvern 5, but they have still opted for putting Puppey in the safe lane on that Snapfire. So yeah, if Seb is right here, this should mean a great start for Ame, as he would effectively be playing more or less one-on-one against the Magnus in lane, while Y would be bullying away YapzOr.
Definitely sees Shockwave not able to connect there for Zai. He's going to be playing the Magnus this time around. And Matu playing the position 1 Weaver. So things kind of going as expected. Faith Beyond on the Lycan this time around. So are we expecting the Aghanim Scepter into the bite of Tiny, turning him into a Rock Wolf hybrid?
We are very much expecting that. It seems to be the clear-cut plan that PSG LGD showed Secret immediately on their 3rd pick. They're like, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Secret with some decent solutions, right? You've got 2 BKB piercing disables through Winter's Curse as well as RP. You've got the instant catch of Dragon Knight. And speaking of Dragon Knight, he is destroying. Nothing to say in mid. Nisha is 12-4 against 3-2 on Nothing to Say's Puck.
Kind of unheard. I mean, Nothing to Say has been owning so hard. We talk about how he's the one dominating his lanes usually. But you're right, this is not remotely close. It is still early, but it's a DK.
It is a DK favored matchup, but I don't think it generally goes this well for the Dragon Knight. So Nisha must have done something really, really well in the first few waves here.
Yep, gets another Dragon Tail, more denies to come, just continuing to dominate. I mean, we typically don't spend too much time talking about the CS, but this is very one-sided so far in this mid lane.
Good news for LGD is, of course, Ame is the current farm leader by quite a margin. More or less just getting everything he wants in this top lane. The only thing he needs to truly worry about is the Arctic Burn, just chipping away at him. But, fortunately for them, Y can expend as much gold as needed on buying extra regen for the Tiny to stay safe in the lane, as Ogre Magi is very item independent. Even in the laning stage, isn't too important to get those boots, for example. Can just act as effectively a wall with his spells.
And Nothing to Say. I mean, he spent so much time trying to go get that bounty rune, and YapzOr just denies it essentially by taking it himself. He is finding absolutely nothing in this lane. We'll see if they end up trying to rotate somebody over to help him out in a couple minutes here with probably the 6-minute rune, I would assume. But not so good so far for Nothing to Say. But, I mean, in terms of comeback potential, what kind of options does Puck have in this specific game?
It's okay. I think, obviously, Puck thrives if it wins its lane, but I don't think for PSG LGD's lineup that it's integral that Nothing to Say is owning. That's the good news, is that if you were to lose a lane here for LGD by a bit, I honestly think losing the Puck lane is almost the best, right? You want the Lycan to get the gold for the Wolf Bite like we talked about, and you want Tiny to be the shining carry of this game. Puck is not going to truly carry. He's going to be utility. Nisha.
Yep, Nisha, illusory orb with the Fire Spirits of Jin Q. He's burning down. Nice body blast from Nothing to Say. Not going to be enough for a kill, but forces Nisha out for now. In fact, they're actually going to go back onto Nothing to Say instead. Gets off the illusory, but the stun comes out. YapzOr with the first blood. And Team Secret actually get another kill. Matu kills Faith Beyond in the bot lane. So Crimson witnesses for everybody. So just kidding. Only a small percentage of people. Check your inventory, guys.
Except if you're Fog, then you get one.
My God, how could he be so?
So the luckiest person.
11 Crimson witnesses.
So yeah, if you get left alone as Lycan against Weaver, Snapfire, this is a really rough lane. Lycan fares pretty poorly in a lot of 1v2s. You don't have any mobility. Your defensive capabilities, you're okay with the Helm of Iron Will, but it's not nearly enough against the overwhelming damage of the minus armor that these two heroes have together in lane. So it does pay the price there for Xinq's rotations. Puppey is very much laying into him here. Xinq will have to back off, use the salve. Yeah, Secret absolutely off to a great start in this game, number one. I think if they could just see the game state right now with the exact farm, they would feel very comfortable. Yeah. All of their cores are getting what they want for the most part.
But of course, you are playing against a Tiny Cinder, and we've seen this so many times before. It's Faith Beyond. Oh, nice cookie from Puppey. Ends up stunning Faith Beyond. Has to kill off the Buzz, and Looks like he's just barely going to live. Matu doesn't have another Shikuchi for a little bit here. Might be pursuing now. Not worth the trouble as more rotations came in for PSG LGD. You can see Nothing to Say getting harassed out of lane again as Nisha's Dragon Form comes out to do some corrosive breath damage to that tower.
Nisha will get his level 6 here, so there is some play potential made with a Dream Coil, but the good news for Secret in that sense is that the supporting cast of PSG LGD doesn't really gank Dragon Knight very well right now. Ogre as well as Phoenix don't have burst damage. It's damage over time, and Dragon Knight's regen works very well against this type of damage, so he should be completely fine to just stay there and keep pressuring the tower. There's the
He's
coil.
going to use his first coil, only onto the Wyvern though.
Oh, he might get
Nisha
tailed
pursuing,
here.
yep, Dragon Tail not able to be dodged. That's going to be an easy kill for Team Secret. As it looks like the sacrifice will be Yapsor for a 1-for-1 as Nisha's still looking for a high five, pursuing it to the high ground. Still in the Dragon Form right now. Why? Ticking away slowly.
Okay.
Looks like he will survive though. You got pretty good value out of that Dragon Form. Getting a kill, getting the bunch of damage to that tier 1 tower,
Yeah.
and obviously the kill being on Nothing to Say is huge.
And
for
Team Secret clearly understand that the position that their Dragon Knight is in. I'm sure Nisha communicated, you know, my game is great right now, let's play around me, let's put some pressure mid, and both teams make big rotations here to try to continue this pressure onto that mid lane and the puck. Nothing to Say will, at the very least here, be able to get a full wave with double range creeps, so getting a little bit of comeback, but as it stands right now is 400 net worth behind that Dragon Knight with 2 deaths. Honestly, thought it might have been worse than that, right? Like when we saw the start, he's keeping up somewhat okay here, and the bigger lane that Secret has the biggest win in is, as a matter of fact, the bottom lane with that Weaver massively out farming Lycan.
Yeah, Matu already has Treads, Falcon Blade, so gonna do some damage to Jinkyu, forcing out that dive. But yeah, just early laning stage advantage for Team Secret. Is this a lineup that you think that they can, oh, you're gonna see the Avatos from Ame, tossing Secret away. Is this a lineup from Secret that you feel like can really take advantage of just like an early lead like this? Like, is it an easy to execute lineup?
I think when Magnus gets the Blink Dagger, I think you have a lot of options with both Dragon Knight and Magnus Blinks. You have a clear-cut stun, you have a repositioning ability against a team with 0 saves, except Sunray. So I definitely think Secret can turn this into a potentially snowball the game at around minute 15, while PSG LGD might still be building up a little bit on their Lycan. But I'm with Seb on the logic here that in a way Secret are a bit on a timer, right? Like LGD's lineup feels like it can scale better, but they also do have that weak spot, and Secret has been very good at executing in specific points of the game this tournament. So if they identify when they need to get stuff done with their DK and Magnus, they definitely have like a 5 to 10 minute power play where I feel like they're just gonna be stronger. So Nisha's back onto mid. Bloodless to the tower here does Y.
Not going to be much of a defense other than pulling that wave, like you said. Nisha will be perfectly happy with that. Just continues to right-click away. There's Nothing to Say, being pursued a bit by Matu, but not wanting to get Waning Rifted and potentially taken out.
And it looks like PSG LGD are making the decision to not even try to defend mid. They're actually just going to trade for bot. This is widely considered a bad trade. The mid tower having higher priority and being more difficult to siege in general, but they've only parked Y there, and now, well, Xinkyu's gonna arrive, but it's too late.
Too late.
The tower's gone, so 1-for-1 tower. I think
now,
Secret again happy with this.
Yeah, 4-person smoke from Secret as Ame is in the jungle. Let's see who they actually try to pursue. Matu. He's gonna run into Ame. Avalanche has already been expended.
Matu did steal the Centaur creep though.
I try to go for this tier 1, but
Small wins. Yeah.
Secret basically all in the top lane for the most part, minus Puppy.
Zai will keep him mid though, so they are getting a little bit of value out of the Dragon Form up top, but not much. It expires now, and Zai will make sure that Secret don't end up trading 2 for 2 on towers here, but rather that they hold their mid while taking top, so really good stuff here. I think rotating Magnus mid is probably the best choice. It was either him or the Wyvern, but I think Wyvern is a bit concerned with just getting Dove, as that is going to happen to Puppy instead. We'll get the cookie off.
Yeah, there's a little bit of space there. Continue to get pursued, but Yapsor's in the vicinity, gets the cold embrace off. That's going to mitigate all that physical damage. Now Faithion, rethinking his decisions here, will just have to walk away, but Puppy basically dying to just these creeps. Very, I mean, that's death from 1,000 bites, Cinderin.
Yep.
Does not feel good, but PSG LGD get what they want there.
Funny situation, you know, there's a really good juke from Puppy. I think this is how he buys the most time, but also how he puts himself in the worst position in the follow-up. And Secret do spend 2 TPs rotating down there with Wyvern and Dragon Knight to effectively not do anything much with it. So I think in hindsight, you know, sometimes you just cut your hero. It's not like this was going to turn into a tower push from PSG LGD. I think they were just going to grab that 1 kill. And they will be very happy to also get those 2 rotations out of it, making space for GQ in the top lane. Green Coil.
Yeah, Coil has to be expended. Nothing to say, trying to get these little bugs off. Jinq helps out a bit as well, but still being forced out completely by Matu. So Matu working on the Maelstrom, so about 1200 away from finishing that.
I feel like Weaver is the single strongest hero in the game to buy Falcon Blade on. And that's an item that's been gaining a lot of popularity in this recent patch after the extra buffs in 730. Even at the times when Falcon Blade was a rarer purchase, we would still sometimes see it on this specific hero, and it's because Weaver is a very much tempo-based carry, and all of the stats are just incredible. You want the mana regions, you can spam Shukuchi for the farm, you need health because you inherently have pretty atrocious strength gain on this hero and bad base stats, and you want the damage because you're a carry. So obviously has been a feel-good item for a lot of carries here, but we've seen it fade a little bit in popularity, but it's remained the pickup for Weaver through the entire tournament as a carry. And you're seeing there, right? He feels very confident up here, just pressuring the Puck and the Phoenix in the lane. They don't have enough to take him down.
Yeah. Well, in terms of item pickups, Zai, is that a... Yeah, Blink Dagger just got delivered to him, so that's obviously a big deal for the Initiation base hero. That is Magnus. Nisha finds Y for now. Yapzor not able to catch up, though. They're going to take an Ignite for their troubles here. Nothing to say. Finished Veil of Discord, by the way, and actually bottled the Arcane Rune as well.
Very interesting to see him not get a single point in phase shift against Dragon Knight. It is a dodgeable stun if you're playing on distance, but going for the full-on damage approach here, nothing to say. And this is an important smoke for them. They're going to try to collapse with Shapeshift onto the mid tower. If they could find a pick, they could get this tower, but Secret with a good read are already all moving top toward Ame. And he will probably TP away. He's going to go bottom and play the triangle instead.
Oh my god, that was
very
close.
From
a half second away, but gets away nonetheless.
And Secret probably, they're going to rep back to mid. And Puppey will take care of probably just scatter blasting this wave and then backing off, just pulling it with a little shredder, but well, Secret need to do something more than this if they want to hold it. Just the summons of Lycan are doing it on their own, and Snapfire can't kill these off without using ulti.
Yeah.
In which case, you could just pull them away for a second and go back in. And this is a really good push from LGD, by the way. They're giving Secret no opening, essentially, by doing it this way, but at the same time also forcing heroes to be in position and ready. But this is such a low-commitment play. You just have a Lycan with the creeps there and the Vlads.
Yeah, they're just farming the jungle, poking at the tower.
Yep.
Forcing Secret to be
Smoke
kind of in an
again.
awkward spot. And yep, now the smoke comes out from PSG LGD. Let's see what they want to do here. Nothing to say. Still working on his Blink Dagger. 1,000 away from that. As got off to a slightly rough start, but fully based on his performances so far this tournament, I expect him to definitely bounce back in the mid-game. Wrapping back around top of the Roche pit. And you can see that Matu is in the general area.
Oh, he's in trouble here. He's not expecting this move at all. There's a coil.
Yep, there's the... All right, they're going to get the coil off. He's not going to break it quite yet. Now he does, and, well, still silent, still stunned, and brought down. Big kill for PSG LGD, but Nisha and company want to get some revenge. Cooking on top of the Dragon Tail. Y taking most of the damage. It looks like he'll take out eventually. RP gets darned by nothing to say. Has the illusory orb come out, but there's the curse to follow. It is enough to bring him down, so a 2-for-1. And the first death was, of course, Matu, but now the chase with Faith Beyond, popping that ult of his. Puppey just getting decimated by this Sunray. And with this, I believe PSG LGD will back away.
Really
Wolf
clutch.
versus Dragon.
Really clutch phase shift dodge on the RP, but still can't get out, and they get on top of him with the Dragon Knight and get the kill. And the curse next to the Lycan summons, this is something you need to keep in mind all game as Faith Beyond is. A lot of the time on Lycan, you can try to play around the curse so you don't get your hero stuck to your own creeps, but you also need to play them around your teammates. And in like these clutch positions on the map on high grounds, it can be difficult to find an attack angle without exposing someone. And Yapzor very quick to identify that, all right, there's going to be an illusory orb coming out of this phase shift. I'm going to just curse him next to the wolves and he's going to die. So very nice from Yapzor.
Into the Roche pit, Secret goes now. Nisha, of course, does not have his ultimate to work with. Zai, no RP. but I know a lot of ults are down for PSG LGD as well. Although Coil is online, but it's Roche is already at half HP. Looks like this is just going to be given up. I'm not even sure if they're aware this is happening.
I think they have a pretty good idea and are opting not to go. They're just too far away.
And they get the deny on Roche. That would be pretty epic. No. Matu gets the Aegis, Secret gets Roche. Oh.
Well, against some of the teams in the tournament, they would have been able to deny the Aegis there with the Wolf because nobody would have picked it up.
That's true.
Secret have watched the replays and have identified that Aegis of the Immortal does give you an advantage and is worth taking on a hero.
Yes.
So they will grab it there onto Matu. Very happy that he did his research there. Very new element to the game, Aegis of the Immortal.
I mean, it's one of those things where the pressure is so high, you can't emulate this, you know? And sometimes you're just thinking about other stuff, Cinder, and you know this all the time, casting. I mean, you literally don't listen to anything. Well, you don't listen to anything either.
That's true.
I don't know. I don't know how you get by in life, to be perfectly honest. Ame has the Shadow Blade with the Echo Saber in tow, going for the Blink Dagger next, and then into the Silver Edge. So pretty standard build for the Tiny here. And how close are we to... I mean, Helm of the Overlord was finished now for Faith Beyond, and Ags will be next. So we're seeing basically the same build. Quelling Blade, no boots.
Now, what creep do you want on the Helm of the Overlord? Do you want the Dragon or do you want the Golem? I'm not sure, actually. Even the Thunderhide is super good for Tiny with that attack speed.
Yeah.
Right? So he's going to get a Golem this time around, of course. Doesn't get to choose. He gets whatever spawns here. The max health is nice, but at the same time, Wyvern does a decent job.
The Golem synergizes really nicely with Tiny Cinder. Maybe they'll confuse that for the real hero.
Yes.
See? Anything's possible with TI. The pressure really gets to you. Sometimes you see things. Basically an even game, though, in terms of net worth right now. Still 3 minutes to go with the Aegis for Matu. Let's see what Secret can do to try to take advantage of this second life.
And it is worth keeping in mind, this is a 17.5-minute game that has 9 kills, and Ame has been in 0. He's 0-0-0. He's playing the Merlina Medusa of old, literally just farming side lanes, hoping his team wins the game until it's over. It's a very memorable game for me. It's all the way back from Dota 1, but when Merlina, I believe he was playing for King KS Int at the time, he had a game, he ended 0-0-0 and won as Medusa.
Man, what a boss.
Creeps all game.
What a boss.
And then they won. But Ame is going to get involved now, has Dagger and Shadow Blade, so now the farm is going to, the net worth is going to be put to use, so to speak.
Right.
As they are making an invasive play here into the enemy triangle. Going to be farming it up. One of the nice things about Helm of the Overlord, it can just farm ancient camps very easily. So as long as Secret aren't willing to take the risk of going there, there's some extra income for Faith Beyond. Naturally, they might find Matumba again.
Matu has a good idea that they're here, though, based on how he's playing.
Keep in mind, by the way, the 2 carries. Tiny level 15, Weaver level 12.
That's
Weaver
true.
won his lane. Like, this is just...
He's
it's
going to
just
get a
Tiny
swarm
in a
off Faith
nutshell.
Beyond, using his ult, mostly for defensive purposes here. But Ame's in the vicinity, gets the Avalanche toss, and down goes the Aegis.
Oh, Zai almost died.
Yep, Zai gets Cold Embrace in the meantime, still has his RP to work with, but it's the Golem that's beating the crap out of him. Will have to back away, and now Nisha, in his Dragon form, still has his BKB available to go. But here comes Puck, he has to force out the BKB. Nothing to say, he's going to get stunned, but gets the coil off. It's only onto one from the backside. You see the Mortimer Kiss is coming as well from so far away, but the cancel from Ame blows up Puppy. Mid Mortimer's Kisses. Still has his buyback though. Matu, time lapse is okay.
Playing it close there.
Absolutely.
That's one of those high-risk, low-reward plays where you could get one attack in on the Ogre, not even close to killing him.
It looked awesome.
It did.
Flashy
Took a
Matu.
risk.
I love it. It's Ame. Yeah, he is. This hero is so insane right now. It's so hard to... I mean, late game, it feels like, oh, we've seen so many games where it's like a 1v4, and like, okay, surely they'll kill Tiny and just beats the crap out of everybody. Everybody just run away.
Yeah, so we're going to see immediate burst here. Look at how much collateral damage he did to Zai there with just the combo and the tree throw, but good Cold Embrace does keep him alive against the Ancient Granite Golem, who, you know, you shouldn't underestimate this. When we talk about Helm of the Overlord, a lot of the time we focus on, okay, is it the Dragon can split push waves? Is it the Golem that gives AoE health to the team? But it hits for 250.
Yeah, they all do. They're
It's
all
like
very
a hero.
strong.
It is actually an extra hero that you get as Lycan. I think Faith Beyond didn't even attack anything with his hero that fight. It's literally just the Golem and the Wolves doing the work.
As we're going to see an Orchid pickup by Yapzor. So going for...
Somewhat late by his
here.
standards, minute 20 here. Is very good against Puck for a while. but ultimately it will fall off as Puck starts getting a good defensive counter item such as Yules, Lincoln's, Disc. Currently, looks like he will go straight for the Disc, has the recipe and the Arcane Boot, so nothing to say. Wants that solution to Dragon Tail Orchid immediately. And if you want to be clutch as Secret against that, you kind of need to force out the Disc reset and then make another go. It's hard to imagine a play where they can one-shot combo him. Because if you force out the Disc, what's your follow-up? Like, all of the status resist is just going to make it too difficult to take him down before he gets his spells off and resets.
Secret have smoked up now. I mean, this is so exciting. Every team at this stage of the tournament now, very close in skill. Most people give LGD the advantage, but I don't know if it's that much. There's the initiation onto Jin Q. Orchid going to prevent any type of getaway here. Nisha gets credit for that kill.
Yeah, nice pick. It is unfortunate for Secret only onto position 4, but it could start the makings of a push on the bottom tier 1 tower. At least looks like Nisha is planning on getting something done here, but at the same time Matu is showing in mid. So LGD are offered 2 choices here basically. They could try to go and defend their bottom tower knowing there's no Weaver, or making the map read that, okay, they're only showing Dragon Knight and Snap here, they could try to invade and kill the Weaver in the triangle. Presented with those 2 choices, they are going to defend bottom tower with Ame's Tiny. And he is now going to Shadow Blade up. Can he actually one-shot combo the Magnus with 2k health?
I'll just say
9
yes.
armor.
I'll just say yes.
He hit. Okay, well, he can one-shot the creep wave. That's confirmed.
Wow, that's shocking at this stage of the game.
Can't believe it.
I mean, I don't want to underestimate Tiny. I mean, he's holding a Christmas tree, for God's sake. Only a complete sadist would beat the crap out of people with something like that.
If you did have to choose a tree as a weapon, I think it's not the worst choice, but I do think there would be better types of trees as well.
I'm sure we're going to get a lot of tweets about what would be the best tree for destroying somebody on the enemy team. I mean, it does have a pointy end, so.
Yeah.
And the ornaments can really hurt.
A lot of needles. That's true.
Plastic is terrible for the environment. Probably terrible for these heroes
Depending on what the ornaments are made out of.
That's true.
They have the same color as the ancient granite golem's eyes, so maybe previous victims of Tiny engraved into that tree.
That would be a great Arcana addition.
Sounds like an episode of Slax's lore show.
Yeah,
sure,
we're not going to say the name of the show because, you know, we don't want to plug anything.
Yeah, we don't do that.
2K net worth lead here for PSG LGD. Nothing to say. Like you said, the Eondis is ready to be assembled, basically. Just waiting for the right time here.
Yeah.
As Zai, haven't really seen like a true initiation with the RP. We've seen like the single RP that basically at the beginning when he got his Blink Dagger initially, but not much since then. There's the Horn Toss. Skewer back. Looking for a quick kill on Y, and they'll get it. Seeing the power of this Horn Toss, Cinder, and this shard is S tier right now, no doubt about it.
Basically has around the same AoE, I believe a little bit more than Axe Call. Not around your entire hero, but in the frontal cone. It's bigger than Call, and obviously pulls enemies back so you can skewer, so very strong.
All right, Faith Beyond, Aghanim Scepter online. So he can bite Tiny.
Really managed to put the amount of pressure that I think they would have liked before this now comes out. Because Ame, okay, let's summarize what Ame has buffing him up right now. He has 4k health, by the way. So he has Ancient Granite Golem for the health. He has Bloodlust. He has Wolf Bite.
He now has a Christmas tree as a wolf. This is a new tradition that PSG LGD is trying to get. Avalanche Toss. Matu gets blown up. Even pops the BKB, but cannot live through that.
Merry Christmas, Secret.
Early Merry Christmas for them. Puppey does survive the onslaught, though.
It's a Disco Wolf. I can't take this game seriously.
Gets the Avalanche. There's the RP from Zai, but it's more than a defensive maneuver. 2 dead for Secret, and no buybacks to work with. The egg is popped. All right, Nisha is able to get that at the very least, but his BKB won't be around for that much longer, and so will his life. In 3 dead and only 1 kill for Secret here. PSG LGD really taking advantage of these timings.
I remember when Dragon Knight was the tanky hero, Shannon. Those were the days. But then the Dire invented the Christmas tree. And that just pierces through all armor you could possibly imagine.
That's right.
Obviously, the Silver Edge factor should be considered against the DK as well. I don't even think that was part of that kill right there. Had been using it previously for that Weaver burst, but... Yikes.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. And obviously, there's no way to know this, but the Avalanche Toss, Matu actually survived through that. pop BKB, then die. If he had time lapse, he would have lived, almost certainly.
I don't know if he could have got the animation off. I think he BKB
That's
then instantly spammed time lapse.
Yeah, it might have been a too long of a cast animation.
Yeah,
that's
I think
true.
so.
I mean, either way, that's not a decision that you can really fault him for regardless. But 5K net worth lead now for PSG LGD, and Tiny Ame is looking quite scary.
He has 350 CS minute 25.
Yeah.
That
this is what Santa Claus looks like in hell.
How many CS is that per minute, Sunsven? You have a very
I wasn't
good
listening
education
to
in
a
that.
word.
How
that
many
you just said.
CS does he have per minute? 350 in 26 minutes. Do the math quickly.
8 million.
That is very close to the truth. Good guess, good guess. It is more along the lines of, I would guess, about 13 or 14.
Okay.
But 8 million is not a bad guess for a first try.
Appreciate that, Cinderin.
Yeah, very good.
American education at its best again. So, what can Secret do to get back into this game? They have a lot of initiation. Again, we talked about the Zai. They haven't been the ones to really start the fights in a lot of these cases. The PSG LGD smokes have really set the tempo of this game, especially after the online activation of the Aghanim Scepter for Faith Beyond. As we're going to see Tiny in wolf form again.
Christmas come early.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
I don't see
He's
the
got a
Christmas
star
tree
over his
anymore.
head. He doesn't find anyone.
He just has ornaments on his body. There's no... My God.
That's terrifying. It's a wolf that's glowing with lights everywhere. It just throws a tree out of its mouth.
Yeah, it's a thing of nightmares for sure.
Oh my goodness.
Obviously has his shard, as you can see, so don't... Unless he throws the Christmas tree, he'll have it up, despite what it looks like right now.
When he throws the tree out of his mouth, he loses all of his glimmer, because that's from carrying the tree.
Right.
So... All right.
One of the best cosmetics in the game, no doubt. That's the one I equip as well. Matu
Roche is up again.
has his BKB, obviously, but hasn't really found much farm after the fact. Cinderin has the Chrysalis right now, and they need a lot more damage from him. But really the problem is he can't survive a lot of this damage as well.
I think, honestly, that's the key word right now for Secret. Where's the damage? I think that's the biggest problem. How do you kill Tiny with 4k health and 20 armor with these heroes? Weaver doesn't have a Daedalus yet. Your Magnus has gone full utility build. Your Dragon Knight doesn't have AC. Wyvern does good damage. Honestly, I think Yapsor needs to play the key role in killing the Tiny. He needs to somehow get the Curse Orchid and a lot of damage from Arctic Burn, or they're just not taking him out.
Well, the problem is now, even if you use Orchid on Tiny,
he has Satanic.
He has Satanic to dispel it.
Goodness.
So he is looking pretty. Going for a Moon Shard next. All right.
And he has spider legs as well, so now he can cross terrain as a dog.
So he's going to be a wolf rock spider hybrid.
The Quick Fox.
With a Christmas tree. Don't forget that.
Wall.
Very important aspect. There's the Avatar. And the break onto Nisha. He's going to get saved by the cookie. Here comes the RP. Onto 2. You can see the Sunray doing a ton of damage, trying to heal up Abe, and that Satanic is doing a really good job of that. He's going to be able to find at least one kill here. The coil was on a couple of heroes as Yapster's going to take a tumble, but bunch of buyback from Team Secret. They want to try to win this fight. But PSG LGD, they're only going to cost them one buyback, and now the pressure is on to Matu on this Weaver, getting extremely low. But is able to sliver away just fine, Cinderin. PSG LGD only lose one.
Yep.
It's basically 3 buybacks for 1.
I wonder if there was a play there for Yapsor where he could have got a curse, but I don't know if there's enough in the tank, right? Like, what's going to kill the Tiny in the curse? It's a couple of Lycan summons and probably still gets the Satanic off in the end and finds the kill, so... Honestly, Secret did a lot of things right there in order to kill the Tiny, but the numbers just aren't favoring them anymore. You imagine a type of fight of that kind 10 minutes ago and Secret probably kill him there, but obviously LGD never presented them with the opportunity until now that they feel strong enough that they will come out ahead. Now 8k gold lead for them in a very good position.
Even with a nice RP on Ame, obviously with the 20 talent giving you extra status resist, it's going to be hard. I mean, even with all the lockdown in the world, they just don't have the damage still. It's just the main issue.
And you see the confidence from Ame. He's actually confident enough that he doesn't need armor, that he's just going to go for the Moon Shard. The armor will coming from Lycan getting the AC. A lot of the times you will see the Tiny... Oh, actually, they swapped it around. He wasn't confident after all. So they're going to get the Shard on Lycan for the split pushing Wolves, and then Tiny himself will be carrying the AC. I guess the communication was something along the lines of... Probably Faith Beyond's like, I'm getting AC next, and Ame's like, I kind of need the armor, so I want to get it. That extra 10 is very important for him to stay ahead, basically, because you did see a glimmer of hope there for Secret that, you know, a little bit more damage on their cores and maybe there's a kill there. So Ame wants to stay ahead of the curve with
We have an initiation from Nisha, but the Sunray from afar, nothing to say, is super fine. Even the Orchid being used, and the Curse on top. But there's the Avatos in wolf form. Down goes YapzOr to start this fight. 70 seconds, no buyback.
Kind of reminding me a little bit of a Little Red Riding Hood here, just that
Jesus.
Wyvern is...
Yes?
Wyvern doesn't really fit into that story so well.
Yeah,
I
was wondering where we're going to go with that, but I don't know what children's stories they say.
I was wondering where Rush was going to go, and it was down. 5-second kill.
Yeah, Aegis down.
And they get the shard
Faith Beyond.
For now, he might pass it on. He was planning on buying it anyway. I think, okay, they have it on Phoenix already. Who could they even give it to at this point? Ogre?
Nisha. All right, Secret do find a kill.
All right, gave the shard to Puck.
Okay, so Waning Rift, a little bit of knockback, which synergizes with the ult, and it gives you a little bit of vision to be able to de-ward and whatnot.
Yep.
That's solid.
Some nice fairy dust.
It fits the lore, I think. I think that's fine.
It does. Fun fact about Puck, inspired by, which play was it again by Shakespeare?
A Midsummer Night's Dream,
I think.
Sure, I definitely read that one in school.
You don't know books, you only know movies. I don't know either, but I can pretend.
Yeah, I like how you bring up something you have no knowledge of and then rely on me who also has no knowledge of it.
Oh, my entire life is built around pretending.
That's
you
true.
Have no idea.
Fake it till you make it.
Yep.
That is the best advice you can give anity.
And then you keep faking after you've made it.
Yes, you keep 6K net worth lead just from Ame and Matu. Just the discrepancy there. That is pretty gigantic. But if they can find a way, I mean, obviously with the Aegis it's going to be difficult, but if they can find a way to kill Tiny, then it's a little bit more it's way more manageable for Secret to actually win a fight here.
Okay, how do they kill him twice? Let's theory craft a little bit here. You're probably looking at a Horn Tusk Skewer into Fountain.
Yeah.
And then you need Cookie or Dragon Tail for the first life.
Okay.
But the problem
you need level 20 on Zai to get that Skewer talent.
Exactly. Zai isn't 20, so I don't know.
I think you also need Aghanim Scepter on YapzOr to get the constant burn, percentage-based damage.
Yeah, could help. Okay, Ame's going to go ahead and 5-shot this top tower.
Okay.
Fair enough.
He's looking very nice. He's 25 now, so ends up taking the 2 toss charges.
And mid tower, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, okay. Lacking a little bit on damage there, Ame. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Okay, that wasn't as impressive as we've seen so far this game.
Got to step it up. All right.
Maybe if he was a wolf, he could have killed it.
500 CS minute 33 for Ame.
Okay.
For comparison, Matu with very good farm has 360 on Weaver.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to see the break onto Nisha. Able to disrupt the Avatos combo, though, from Ame.
Ame has that extra toss charge, so with that level 25, might be able to solo the Dragon Knight, even if he gets the full-on combo with Avatos into the secondary toss before Dragon Tail comes out. He's going to get bit, though, and go on the hunt for Matu, who he's expecting might try to poke either the bottom tier 2 tower or farm this area down here that is being scouted by a wolf, but very wisely, Matu just hiding off in the side. Now it's going to show with the bugs. And hide again. There's no detection, I believe, on Ame, so can't kill him off, and he's going to TP out. Good read from the Tumba Men there.
You just need to do that a million times more. I mean, that does waste a lot of time for Ame, obviously, but they're still sporting a double-digit net worth lead right now. And there's a double damage rune bottom.
It's going to be taken by Puck.
Okay. That's a little bit surprising, I won't lie.
It's pretty good on Tiny, I've heard.
Yeah,
maybe he can start 3-shutting towers then.
But nothing to say is like, you know what? I had a rough start to this game. I only have 1 kill right now. Tiny's getting all the credit. Time for me to show up here. Has the Octarine Core, Boots of Travel, Eon Disc, Blink, and Veil. He has...
You wouldn't think he got stomped in lane, would you?
I know. He's bounced back pretty admirably, I have to say.
Oh, he might see Matsu here. He could coil. He had gem.
No.
Very close.
Already expending the Arctic Burn here. So only a minute left on this Aegis. And, I mean, okay, we have the Skewer back. This is on to Y again, so it's going to be a freebie. He seems to be the only one that Secret can kill pretty reliably without getting baited into a pretty big team fight.
Dragons, the Elder Dragon form is expended for this from Nisha, so once Ogre respawns, they are down that key spell. But the good news for Secret is they're effectively denying the Aegis value, right? There's 40 seconds left on Ame. He has not hit a base tower yet. So good job from them not getting caught out. I think what LGD really wants in this game, their play call, is we want to find any core and then force the buyback with a high ground push. But without finding that core, they just haven't felt confident to just press the issue. And it's understandable. You're against Wyvern, you're against Magnus. It can get dicey in the enemy base always. You get skewered into towers, and then if the enemy team tries to help, there's that curse. And LGD are probably confident as well that, well, guess what? If we're just farming, we still have plenty of room to grow. Tiny will be getting a Swift Blink sometime soon. And wonder what he's going to get last, actually, here for Ami. He's going to swap in the treads now.
I would think Daedalus.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, Daedalus plus Silver Edge, I think that's fine still, right? Double crit, but
yeah.
You could eventually, if you kill Roche again, get the Ags, which I don't know, Ags is interesting on Tiny because it's from a distance, right? It's not exactly how he's playing right now. As Nisha going to get the Arcane Rune successfully here. But yeah, still room to grow. I mean, we've seen Butterfly, obviously, in the past.
Wonder if there's any point he wants BKB as well.
That's true. You could be that guy and buy BKB.
Then you're only playing into Curse and RP, and you know you're not dying in either of them. And while you're BKB'd, you're forcing them to use those spells, or their heroes are just going to disappear.
So Matu did get his shard, so this is going to allow the Swarm to reveal Invis units, which should be pretty helpful against these Shadow Blades.
Yep. It gives him a bit more spread damage with the Geminate attack. Pretty common pickup for Weaver. It increases your effective damage output in teamfights by quite a lot if you get the right position.
Yep, and I mean at 25, I'm guessing you take the Geminate attack talent as well, right? Because that's just synergizes even more with the shard.
Probably, yeah. I think you do in this game at least. You're still starved for damage, right? Like you've pointed out a couple of times, they're killing the Ogre, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, Secret, despite kind of being stuck in their base, the lead for PSG LGD hasn't really grown by much in the last few minutes. It feels kind of like it's tapered off a bit. They're just kind of at a standstill to some degree. You know, take control of their outposts again and their jungle as a whole. As PSG LGD almost certainly just waiting for the next Roche, which will be Roche number 3.
They're really banking on at some point Secret are going to slip up and get caught, but they haven't for the last 5 minutes. They haven't been able to find a single core kill. They keep using this wolf bite onto Ame and letting him chase, but there's just nothing to be found. Secret are always in the right position, but oh, that's an easy kill on that. And with the Overlord, Secret will finally make their way into their own triangle to try to reclaim some ground. And I would imagine PSG LGD like an over.
I don't know if he keeps that, but Leveler on Tiny.
Oh my goodness. Well, he's going to hold on to the Ascetics cap for now.
Yeah, you could just wait for the building hitting, I guess, just for the extra siege damage, but yeah, you can't get much better item than that from the jungle for pushing the tower.
Even the Leveler's base stats are kind of nice, right? The 50 attack speed and 5 armor.
Wait, it gets 5 armor?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. That's so random.
It got changed a while back. I think it used to be 60 attack speed.
How could a weapon give you armor? Good offense is a good defense? Is that,
I guess so, yeah.
Is that the saying? Or the best offense is a good... You're supposed to correct me when I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's a play by Shakespeare. Look it up.
Yeah, he was really into basketball back then. Pretty sure he invented it. As we can see, the lead is... I mean, it's growing a bit, but... I mean, typically in the cases like this where they're getting starved of the map, like at this point I would expect like a 22k or more lead. For
that was a very specific number.
Yep. Because it makes you sound smart if you get very specific. Oh my god! Yapsar's dead! 2-shot!
Wonderful. Well,
I'm dead.
I found him. Finally a pick for...
I'm dead.
Nice voice lines there. Let's just keep layering them while Yapsor is still dead.
Can they just keep saying that? Then we don't need to cast. Just keep saying I'm dead until the game's over.
One day it shall take our jobs, no doubt.
Ultimately, we're going to have so many voice lines that can narrate an entire game.
We got the waning rip,
Might force his BKB with a coil. No.
Kuching away. Yeah, not taking the bait.
Interesting. I thought coiling there would feel good for nothing to say. You know, you've got Octarine Core, the cooldown's pretty low, and forcing BKB charges is by no means a waste.
Seeing a replay here of Yapsor dying in 2 hits, as he is actually kind of happy about that. He finds it amusing.
It's like, I survived the first hit. Did you guys see it? I didn't get 1 shot.
As we have a sheepstick picked up by Faith Beyond now. So he is, he's really farmed himself.
Yep. Interesting choice. Obviously goes for something different. Oh, okay.
Double damage again.
Okay, I want to see him kill Roche with this. I think he's not going to. I think he's going to kill it without it, unless Secret try and contest, but he will hit for, what is that? 905
Yeah.
when he's close to everything that he wants. Something like that.
Pretty good. That's
All
without
right,
crits.
wolf bite, double damage. Okay. He
Okay,
finds
they want to go
literally
for
anyone.
a fight now. He has the bloodlust applied. Ame. How many shots will it take? He finds Nisha. No, we'll back away for now. Oh my God! Yaxor's dead in one shot this time. Nisha, despite having the BKB. Oh my God! Secret are crumbling because Tiny is gigantic. Ame.
What happened to
Into
Dota,
the
my
Roche
beautiful baby?
Nisha already used his Dragon Farm, so even if he buys back, all right, Roche is dead. That has Aghanim Scepter on it, and I believe that Nothing to Say took that, if I'm not mistaken here. Yeah, and he consumes it, so...
Let me ask you a question. When is the last time you saw a hero that wasn't PA crit for over 2k without a rapier?
About 30 seconds ago,
same.
Cinderin. The buildings, there we go. He's not even putting the leveler in his inventory. Happy with the Penta Edge Sword. There's the buyback onto Nisha. And the buildings are going down quite fast. Oh, all right, gonna get the toss of the skewer back into the tier 4. He's gonna have the buyback now onto Matu. Stun onto Ame. Can they kill the raid boss? Nope, he's just gonna heal back to full HP again. And of course, he still has that Aegis for another 4 minutes.
Super heads-up play from Nothing to Say. They're getting into them on the back line when
Secret
they use the
has to
buyback.
get something out of this. Zai looking for an opening, but it's not going to be found. Instead, he's going to go out of his grave. Buys back into the game. Looks like Nisha, that's a dieback. 120 seconds in the grave for you. Ame, triple kill. Wolf, Christmas tree, lights. Just say anything, and it makes sense at this point, Cinderin. That's 2 sets of racks for LGD.
Broccoli.
Into the top lane they go. And Matu, well, that's 1 shot to half HP, has to time-lapse it up. Already expends the BKB. They can't defend this. There's absolutely no way. 45k net worth lead out of nowhere for PSG LGD. The skewer back on the Faith Beyond. Can they get a consolation kill of any kind? It's not looking like it because there goes Ame again.
Whatever.
Oh my God. What an absolutely filthy performance from Ame. Oh my goodness. Gaben, help us. Tiny is on another level. I mean, we talked about how Magnus was kind of the hero of the tournament, but Tiny's up there as well, Cinder.
I feel like that like half a second or a second of puppy we just saw on camera before it cut away. It's just him like smiling, like, what can you do?
Time to ban Tiny, I guess.
Absolutely ridiculous. And I think what's so fascinating about this game, honestly, if we were to break it down just a little bit before we throw it back to the panel, is like this was such a stalemate for so long. Effectively, PSG LGD and Secret were kind of avoiding each other, but it favors PSG LGD's strategy overall. That it's such a great job at just buying time for Tiny, waiting. All right, we get Scepter, we get Silver Edge. Now let's go. And they're just running over Secret in the next 2 fights, control the whole map, and get the Roches. Crazy game.
Yep, absolutely, Cinderin. PSG LGD take game 1 in very convincing fashion. Let's see what the panel has to say about the big bad wolf with that huge Christmas tree.
Thank you very much, Cinder and Sunspan. Did you hear the crowd? LGD. LGD. That was sick. So now, we did get a chance to talk about it a little bit before, but Jenkins, you were talking about the matchup between